pulled some headlines from news articles that I think are so appropriate to what we're experiencing right now in 2023. Take a look at this. I've got my phone with me because I have these articles pulled up. U.S. economy on track for soft landing, says the Dallas Fed. And then the article goes in to talk about how the latest data references the impression of an economy which is growth remains moderate and inflationary pressures are likely to continue to subside. And then it goes on to talk about how the Fed is navigating us into a soft landing from this so-called potential recession or recession we're in. Here's another article. This one's pretty cool. Fed chairman projects a soft landing for the U.S. economy. Here's another one. I thought this one was really good, where it goes in. As the Fed meets, investors are betting on a soft landing. So when they talk about this idea of this soft landing, here's what I want you to understand. Let's go back to that very first article that I gave you. U.S. economy on track for a soft landing. The date of that article is September 26th, 2007. Is history not one of the greatest teachers ever? Does anybody believe the recession, the Great Recession of 2008 was a soft landing? Are you kidding me? But this is what your news had in it. Let's go to one of these other articles that I just read to you. Date on the article, again, February 14th, 2007, the U.S. prepares for a soft landing. As Fed meets, investors bet on a soft landing. December 12th, 2006, right before the Great Recession. So what's the common theme here? Listen to those words, soft landing. What are you hearing in the news right now? Everyone is predicting and talking about how the Fed, our new Fed, not Bernanke, who is who it was back then, but the Fed we have now, Jerome Powell, how he is going to navigate us into this so-called soft landing. Now, all those years ago in 2007, did they get it right? Or was that actually what it was? We know what happened. They didn't get it right. They weren't even close to getting it right. And I'm not trying to scare anybody today when I do this, but I thought it was so interesting to see the news articles that we were all reading in the news right before we fell off a cliff in this country. Now, do I think that's happening this time? I honestly don't, and here's why. The job market is totally different this time. We have a very tight labor market. So people are getting laid off, and they're going to continue to get laid off, in my opinion, in 23. But if they want to go take a job, they can. That may not be the job they like, but they can go get one. But here's what this means to all those people who are thinking about retirement right now, who just retired, who've been retired 5 years, or are planning on retiring in the next 5 years. You don't want to bet on a soft landing. We don't know exactly what's going to happen. One thing I'm personally sure of is we're heading into a recession, or we're already in one, and it's going to get tough. And this market has not fallen all the way yet. However, it is going to fall just like it did in 08, and then, which it did last year. The markets, talking about the markets, they fell in 08, they fell in 22. And I believe they're going to fall a little more in 23, and then we're going to see the rebound just like they did in 09, and this is going to be a great time to be an investor. But an investor with a written retirement plan. You've got to have a plan, because you cannot rely on what you're hearing in the news. The news gets it wrong every single time, and look at those reports I just read you, those famous news articles, just pulling them up in our history, and they sound so similar to what we're seeing today.